I'm Brian Novak. I live in Maple Plain, Minnesota. I'm with Minnesota 350.
What's Minnesota 350 doing?
What it's trying to do is educate people about runaway climate change and what everybody can do to help cool the planet.
I think it's a matter of human will to move beyond and really evaluate our systems and the way that we've been living and the way that we view energy consumption and where we need to get our energy from.
Democratic Visions is handmade by volunteers through DFL's Senate District 48, Eden Prairie, and Minnetonka. Now here's host Tim O'Brien.
Welcome to Democratic Visions. Kate Faye joins us tonight for the very first time. Kate is the statewide coordinator of Minnesota 350. Minnesota 350 is part of 350, a national citizens initiative to deal with climate change. Kate, what does the terminology 350 stand for?
Well, 350 stands for 350 parts per million of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So for every million other particles in the atmosphere, there are particles of carbon, and 350 is the level that climate scientist James Hansen has deemed as the level we need to get back down to in order to live on a planet similar to the one that we're living in right now.
So I take it we're higher right now than 350. Where are we right now?
Currently we're at 394 parts per million, although last spring 400 parts per million was recorded in the Arctic.
We've had a record number of high temperatures. We've had wildfires in Colorado.
Yeah, carbon dioxide levels are getting too high in the atmosphere and we need to lower them.
We've had intense floods in Duluth, and they all have direct relationship to climate change.
We prepared a short update on the consequence that climate change is causing.
For starters, heat waves, droughts, and heavy rain, hurricanes and tornadoes are more intense and frequent. The Great Lakes are within inches of their all-time lowest levels. 2012 was the hottest year on record for the lower 48 states. The entire planet is heating up more quickly than predicted. Arctic sea ice shrunk to a record low. Ice melt in Greenland and the Arctic grew to 3 times higher than in the 1990s. Global sea levels are rising more quickly. Despite decades of warning, CO2 emissions into the atmosphere in 2012 were the highest in human history, 54% higher than in 1990.
Climate change is clearly the large elephant in the room that most of the world avoids talking about. What is Minnesota 350 going to do about that?
Well, Minnesota 350 is looking to bring the conversation forward by educating people, telling stories of the impacts and the consequences. We're also calling on Minnesotans collectively to come together and take action and pressure our political leaders to address climate change.
How do you get the word out?
Well, we have a fabulous website, minnesota350.org. One of the uses of this website is purely as a resource about the science, what's happening in Minnesota in regards to climate change, or is doing something about it. So we have several stories about folks who are putting wind up or solar. We also do presentations, Speakers Bureau that has both well-known speakers, but also just average folk who are passionate and committed to getting the word out. But because of the urgency of the climate crisis, we actually are more calling on people to come together and to pressure political leaders to get out on the streets, stand up, make a call out so that we can have greater impact on policies and laws that are going to call for more drastic transitions than just turning off our light bulbs.
Kate, 350 parts per million. Daunting task when we're at 394. Are we going to get there?
I'm an optimistic person, but I'm not sure we're going to make it. But I have no reason in the world not to give everything I have to make the change and to try.
Democratic Visions is handmade by volunteers through DFL Senate District 48, Eden Prairie and Minnetonka. Lori Pryor, Chair.
As I mentioned before, we're at 394 parts per million of carbon, and that's projected to reach 450 in the very near future. And 450 parts per million basically is a planet that we won't be able to survive on. But if we were to make significant transitions to renewable energy and other energy sources, that would change the game.